This is Dr. Carroll, and this is another video in the Python list series. And this video is about objects and references. To start out with, to have a good discussion about this, a good lesson, we need to talk about the built-in function ID. And what ID does is it takes an argument and it returns the memory location of that object. And so keep that in mind as we're discussing things. Okay, so let's start with a demo that's going to be talking about strings and objects and strings. And so let's take a string literal mango and assign it to A. And then let's get some input and let's prompt the user with, I don't know, just whatever they want to put in. Let's just give them a little prompt here to guide them. And then we're going to display what A and B are. And then we're going to see A is B, and notice is a keyword there. And so what this is really asking when we say A is B is, are they referencing the exact same object? Now this is a little different than, and the answer is going to be false. I'm just going to, little spoiler alert there. This is a little different than equality. If we say A is equal to B, then what that's really asking are the two objects, do they have the same value? And as we see here, that depending on what the user enters, and since I'm the user, I know what I'm going to enter, it's going to be true. Okay. And then we're going to display what is their ID. So what is the ID of A? And it's going to display something like a number. A large number. And then if we do what is B, it's also going to display a large number, and it will be different. So let's see this. Here it is in idle, and it's wrapping around. These are just comments. So let's execute this. Okay. Please enter a fruit that starts with man and ends with go. What's my options here? I'm going to go with mango. Okay, so A is mango, B is mango, A is B is false. But is A and B, are they equivalent? Yes, true, they are. So where in memory is A? A is the string that A is referencing is at this location, whereas the string that B is referencing is at that location. And if we run it again, it'll put them in different memory locations potentially or commonly. Now, let's make one change. Let's just, instead of asking for input, let's just assign it to mango and see what happens. Okay, so let's just go here. Let's just simplify this and see what happens. Okay, everything else is the same. And we're going to run it. Oh, yes. Save it, please. Okay. A is mango. B is mango. A is B. Oh, that's interesting. It's true now. But it's false up here. That's interesting. And yes, they're equivalent. Well, that's what we'd expect. But notice what's going on here. They are stored at exactly the same place in memory. And so what is going on here? And so what is going on is A is referencing the string mango, but Python optimizes storage space by having strings that are given, that are in the code, have the same value. If they appear in the code multiple places, then they're going to reference the same location in memory. And so what's going on here? Mango is stored in memory at a specific location, and I've put in the addresses here to match with the comments. And so this memory location is somewhere in memory, and A and B are referencing the exact same string in memory. That's what's going on here. And so when we display it, are A and B referencing the same object? It actually says true because they are, because it optimized that. It said, hey, I have a string mango here, a string mango there. It doesn't look for it if the user inputs it. Okay, so that's strings, and objects, which may have been new, and using the built-in ID and is and equality operators. Now let's turn to lists. Okay, so let's say we have a mylist1 and we have three string, and it's referencing three string literals here, element A, element B, and element C. And let's just have another list that has exactly the same string elements in there. And so if we said, hey, now is my list 1, is it the same? Is it stored in memory as the same place as my list 2? And the answer is going to be no, they are stored at different locations. But if we said, well, okay, but are they equivalent? Are they equal? Do they pass the equality test? And yes, because each of the highest level elements has the same value. And so we can understand a little bit more of this. We could say, okay, well, where in memory is list 1? And it's going to be something like the large number. And where is my list 2 stored? And it's also going to be a large number. And so let me show this graphically. So here we have my list 1, and it's referencing these three elements here. And each of those elements are referencing a string literal somewhere else in memory. And when we have my list 2, notice the list is different. It's a different list of three elements, except each of those elements references the exact same strings, because it looked at that in code and said, hey, I've already seen this somewhere. I'm just going to reference it again. And so that's what's going on there. And so that's why we have what we do, and that's why the my list 1 ID is different as compared to my list 2. So now let's take this one step further. What if instead of we saying where is my list stored, we said where is the item that's in the first location in my list stored, and it's going to display some other number. And then if we said, hey, well, what about list 2? Now, what do you think it's going to say here? Where do you think it's going to say? It's saying where in memory is this referencing? So where is element A? And now if we do my list 2, it's going to display exactly the same memory location. Now, if you put this in your code and execute it, then it's going to come up with different values, or if I run it again, it's going to be different values. But the concept is the same, that it's going to be either the same or they're going to be different every time that you run it, depending on is it the exact same place in memory or are we referencing two different ones. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out my other videos in the series.